Hello, everyone. It's another Tuesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Obiajilu Olabisi Ubu, and with me are the ladies, and we have Honey Pot on mic. In the building.
Good morning.
Good morning, Honey Pot. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
We've missed you on the set. I have missed you on the set. Welcome.
Are you doing this on purpose?
No. But I always tell you no, don't I?
Okay.
So how are you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
I've missed you on the table. That's what I mean. I see you now.
Yes.
What's it called? I see you on the table. That's what I'm talking
Thank
about.
you so much. It's so good to be here. Thank you so
you're welcome.
much.
So how have you been?
I am very well. I've been fine.
What's
Only that
happening?
I don't know. I don't know whether I even slept. I don't know. My body clock has been very... has been worrisome in the sense that I don't have any body clock any longer. I don't know when I don't sleep early. I suffer insomnia, and then I wake up, I come to work. It's like the same thing. I really don't know what is happening.
Are you taking anything for the insomnia?
I don't like to take stuff because I used to, and then...
But you could have a natural remedies. She's a natural remedy.
Yeah, somebody
so
told me
help
about
us.
natural honey and all that. Like,
I think it's just self-will.
Okay.
That works the most. I have had a bit of sleep stress yesterday.
Okay.
And I just slept on the floor.
Wow.
oh, and it worked for you.
Changing the position sometimes
Can
helps.
work for you. Even rearranging your room. There's this feng shui stuff I've been
Yeah,
you know,
that's right.
doing. So just rearrange the space, change the outlook, set the intention for the room. Your room should be your resting place. No TV is supposed to be in your room.
Yeah, and I think I'm a part of the problem too, because sometimes it's almost like 24 hours is not enough sometimes. You're editing, I'm editing, yes, and everything, and then I find that my eyes are just wide open and I have to work again. But it's okay. We're here now. Yes, I get.
How you doing, Alahaja?
I'm there.
Yeah, there, right? Yeah, good.
Today is Mr. Musa's birthday.
Oh,
Mr. Lukman Musa, yes.
happy
And
birthday,
also, happy birthday, sir. It's also the birthday of a mentor, Dr. Kafayat Oloruntoyin Abike Dabiri Erewa, the chairperson, Nigeria Needs Corp, that's Nigerians Diaspora Commission.
Happy birthday.
She's 60 today.
Oh, wow. That's a milestone.
It is a milestone. I just love that, she's so accommodating. She's generous with time. She's so responsive. I've had the privilege of helping 2 people lost in diaspora with Libya issues through our agency just by sending a message. She's busy, she might not, and she'll see the message,
attend to it.
and somebody reaches out to me. She's a hard worker, very busy. I'm so privileged to know her. I'm proud of the relationship. I love her, and happy birthday, ma. Well done for all you do. Yes.
Happy birthday.
Yes. I'm doing okay. So I'm planning for a physical trade fair. I've never sold physically before.
Okay.
I've always been selling online for how many years I've been doing this business. So I want to be a part of some trade fairs happening around.
A lot are happening.
Yes, this period.
Yeah.
So I'm beginning to retrieve my items, my products from the warehouse. After work now, I'm heading to the warehouse to go and fight.
Why
now,
fight?
if you do business in Nigeria, your blood has to be boiled.
Oh my gosh.
I've been crying back to back for weeks now because I'm getting frustrations from different angles, but I can't give up now.
I witnessed one.
Yeah,
when you were complaining
I can't
about
give
the
up
package.
now. I can't give up now. I just have to continue. But that's it. That's what's happening right now. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we take the newspaper reviews. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back. So let's start with the nation. We don't have physical papers, but we'll make do with what we have here. APC accuses Dogara of using religion to cause disaffection. Buhari to confer infrastructure award on Wike, October 21st. Fire raises Kogi House of Assembly complex. INEC political parties can't substitute candidates again. ASU strike to end in days, says Gbajabiamila Falana. PDP's party of termites can't return to power, says Tinubu. Navy destroys oil bunkering vessel arrested by Tompolo's men. So what stories do we have here?
Okay, so fire got the House of Assembly complex in Kogi State. And yesterday, according to the Nation, the Speaker of the House is expressing shock. nobody could ascertain the cause of the fire. They say the speaker, as well as the information from one Kingsley Fanwo, that security and technical experts were working hard to get to the root of the issue. The Honorable Speaker, Matthew Kolawole, says he's shocked, and the spokesperson is also talking about how they open it up for investigation, but other papers have suspicions flying around. So they've accused Dangote of, causing the fire, and the Sun and Tribune, and he's responded, is threatening to sue. They are going back and forth. Rather than do this, I wish the first things would be, that house did not have a fire department, because the level of, if you see the pictures in the nation, it was completely burnt down.
Wow.
For any government agency, there should be a standby fire truck.
That's right.
To respond to fire.
Yeah.
Yes, and they should have a fire department. They call it health service. My dad was in such a department in the NNPC those days, and they were constantly ready every day for a fire because they were in an oil sector. So they should have that. They should have that department with the necessary extinguishers and all of that, and they could respond to a fire. And instead of raising down the Galleria totally, something should have been able to stop the fire. That's two. Then where will the House of Assembly sit? Will the business of lawmaking in Kogi State be paused forever because they are going back and forth?
Wow.
And then allow the agencies investigate. If you think it's arson, let them investigate arson. And if anybody is found wanting, instead of accusing and dropping speculations, let's just do.
Okay, so let me quickly take Asu, then I'll come to you. There are strong indications yesterday that public universities will soon reopen for academic activities. Now, the House of Reps Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila and the activist lawyer Femi Falana San and the president of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, that's ASU, Professor Emmanuel Usodeke, raised the hope that the striking lecturers will suspend their actions in a matter of days. They spoke after a brief meeting with ASU representatives, that's the speaker, and that was also led by the ASU president. And he was saying that there's confidence in the discussions that they have had so far, and they are going to try as much as possible to understand or relax into the knowledge that there's light at the end of the tunnel. And they were applauding the speaker for conveying such a meeting, saying that if he had done this earlier, maybe he wouldn't have had to stay over 8 months at home. The students wouldn't have had to stay for that long. So hopefully we'll hear what they are supposed to sign off, because the ASU president was saying that they must go back to their people with the information they've gotten from the meeting, and they will now understand what they need to sign to move ahead. So we're still hoping that the students very soon will resume school.
That is a very good one indeed, because what? Since February the 14th this year. That's a very long time. All right, so I have this one. Buhari to confer infrastructure award on Wike. That's on October the 21st. River State Governor Nyesom Wike has been nominated for the Distinguished Award in Infrastructure Delivery at the forthcoming Nigeria Excellence in Public Service Award by the federal government, and President Muhammadu Buhari will, on October the 21st, present the award to the governor of the State House Conference Center. That is where it's going to happen in Abuja. The secretary to the government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa, said in a letter. And, well, that's just about that particular one. Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's move on now to The Punch. Work for Tinubu's victory, Buhari tells APC women. Assembly fire. Government alleges sabotage. Dangote threatens lawsuit. PDP governors hit Uyo with 15 private jets. Wike, Autumn, Makinde, 2 others absent as party begins 2023 electioneering. Obaseki holds South-South stakeholders meeting in Uyo. Diri, Udom pledged support. IU appeals to aggrieved governors. Say party needs everyone to rescue Nigeria. Amosun backs ADC candidates. APC says ex-governor treacherous. Family loses only child. Blames short-staffed Ondo hospital. Both accidents claim 701 lives in 34 months. What stories do we have in the
Sad news from Ondo State. The family of Dominion Akiton, the young boy who lost his life, mourning their 1 year, 7 months old child. who died at the Okitipupa General Hospital in Ondo State. They said that they had rushed him to the hospital and it seemed like he was in need of blood transfusion. But they got to the hospital because this was an emergency, of course, and they got to the hospital at 9 p.m. and they didn't meet anybody. In fact, the father had to use his phone torchlight to find his way inside. Wow. And so one of the workers there just said to him, next time you want to see the doctors, you have to come in the morning. They are usually not around at this time. A general hospital. Wow. And so before he would from there rush his child off to the private hospital, he lost the child. Now the CMD of the hospital, after being summoned by the Commissioner for Health in Ondo State, said that he confirmed that the family of the child had come on a referral to that hospital and that a worker had put a call across to one of the doctors, which is also the account of the father, that the worker had called one of the doctors who said he was on leave and that he couldn't come. And the CMD was now saying that, the family was asked to buy a card, so they didn't come on time. If they had come on time, he didn't deny the story, but, he made the lamest excuse for people grieving. Oh, God. He said they didn't come on time, they were asked to get a card, and, but before he could get a card, before the doctor would avail himself to the place, they lost the child, and, I don't understand how a general hospital is not running 24 hours. A serious general hospital, even in the remotest of villages, runs 24 hours. Yeah. So if the CMD is talking like this, I hope the Commissioner of Health knows what to do to that person, because you need passionate people. Actually, people who value life. So head hospitals. It's a serious business. This business of life, of saving lives.
That's so sad. It's so sad that we get to hear that every now and then. All right, Amosun backs ADC candidate. APC says ex-governor treacherous. Well, a former governor of State Senator Ibikunle Amosun has dumped Governor Dapo Abiodun for the governorship candidate of the African Democratic Congress, BE Otegbeye, in the forthcoming 2023 elections. Both Abiodun and Amosun are actually chieftains of APC. And Abiodun, who took over from Amosun in 2019, is seeking a second term in 2023 on the platform of APC. And so Amosun broke his silence on whom it would support in the coming election in the state, saying it would be backing Otegbe in the next election against Abiodun, while he pledged his support to the APC presidential candidate, Bola Tinubu. And so he says that on the governorship poll, that's a different ball game. I don't belong there.
All right, let's take a short break. When we come back, we continue the newspaper reviews. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back. So I had a story in the Punch. They said about 701 persons have lost their lives in 53 boat accidents in the country between January 2020 and October 2022. So Punch carried out an investigation, and they said the fatalities involved the passengers and the boat operators, and they attributed it to overloading, careless driving, poor maintenance of boats, and turbulent weather, among others. So Punch also realized that the boat accidents were more frequent during the rainy season than the dry seasons. So there's this breakdown of what the numbers that we've gotten so far. So Niger State had the highest number of recorded boat mishaps in the country with 176, followed by KB 84, Anambra 80, Lagos 72. He said the incident showed that a total of 233 persons were killed in 2022, with Benue recording 6 deaths, Jigawa 34, Bauchi 5, Taraba 18, Niger 16, Lagos 17, Bayelsa 22, Anambra 77, Delta 5, Kogi 4, and Sokoto 29. And went ahead with all of those details. But the bottom line is we need to be very careful when we're taking the waterways. I know sometimes they complain that the boats are not enough for them to, get
coffee.
They take more passengers than they have capacity for. And that's one of the reasons we have such mishaps. So let's move on to the next paper. Let me find it here. Okay, let's do the Sun now. Daily Sun.
Okay.
ASU to call off strike in days, Gbajabiamila and Falana. Amid mammoth crowd, Atiku outlines rescue plan. Pledges to address hunger, insecurity, and disunity. Wike, 4 other PDP governors absent at rally. Will deploy technology to ensure victory, Obaseki. True federalism pillar for prosperous nation, Akeredolu. Tension in Enugu, Nasarawa as gunmen kill 4 soldiers and 10 others. Set Ebonyi Council headquarters on fire. Flood sacks 33 communities in Imo. Traders send SOS to Soludo in Anambra. Nnamani defends Tinubu, insists APC presidential candidate hail and hearty. Wike bags federal government's award on infrastructure delivery. Dogara, APC Northern Christian leaders impostors, says Tinubu. Calls PDP party of looters. No alternative to our victory, Buhari. Obajana, Kogi, Dangote trade tackles over fire incident of State Assembly. What stories do we have in the Sun?
I have the 33 communities in Imo State that were affected by flood. And I like that they are asking that the federal government assist to help them prevent an epidemic of waterborne diseases in that area. All 33 communities were mentioned in the Sun. And let me say, they are in the Ohaji, Egbema local government area of Imo State. And most people there have been rendered homeless. The traditional ruler of that area also have called on the government to assist and also spoken to his people. So he's not speaking from just one side. He has thanked the officials of NEMA for their response and, and also begged them to help out with palliatives for the people so that they can get back. They are predominantly farmers and fishermen in that area. But he also talked to is regretting that most of his community members, his subjects, are now refugees and they are in their own community because of the flood, but also appealing to them to not build new houses in those areas where flood has, affected this year, so that they don't continue to experience the same thing over and over again.
It's so interesting how I took the same story. So a source from one of the communities disclosed that the flood might not be unconnected to the overflow of the Oguta Lake and Oreshe River. Yeah. So,
well, we took the story now. I think that was last week where we talked about there are certain types of houses that can be built in those areas.
In those areas.
I think the government needs to start paying attention to. You don't just do cement and brick, something that you're going to have flood and the whole place is covered. We need to start thinking proactively and then cordon off some areas so that when you're coming in to buy a property there, you already know that there's flood here.
I totally agree with you, and I think that the government should not be waiting for this, because I'm sure this is not the first time it happened to them. I've been to, in fact, I've been to Oguta. I went to Oguta last December, and you could see that it's actually a big lake.
So it's a fisherman community.
Yeah.
The design of the kind of houses
that can last there.
In fact, there is another resort that is close to it and is extended. Is an extension.
The people in that community also should be used to relocating during seasons. It's not an all-season community. There are seasons when the tides go up and it's not safe. You move with your family and then you move back if you must sit with Mami Water.
That area. It's okay. Let's move on. I have one story. So, gunmen reportedly shot 4 soldiers in Iyachi community in Oji River local government area of Enugu State. Said the attack is coming 24 hours after a police station was attacked and set ablaze in the same local government. So 2 people, including a policeman and a civilian who had gone to the station to lodge a complaint, were killed by the gunmen. Details of the attack were sketchy at the time they wrote this report. In a related development again, gunmen set ablaze a section of Eza North local government area headquarters in Ebonyi State, destroying valuable items and documents worth millions. So the chairman of the council, Chief Ogodo Ali Nome, confirmed the incidents to the journalists, and they said the arsonists were numbering about 20 people. They stormed the area around 1 a.m. and proceeded to set the store of the local government ablaze. They said they were resisted by the police, however, and a lot of them escaped, but they had bullet wounds while they were escaping. So the police will be looking out for them at the moment. Just a painful story. So let's move on to the Tribune. Transfer your support for me to Tinubu, Buhari tells women. Vessel conveying stolen crude oil to Ghana set ablaze in Delta. ASU optimistic says there is light at the end of the tunnel. Buhari to confer national honors on Lawan, Ariwola, Okonjo-Iweala, 443 other Nigerian and foreigners today. Wike backs award for infrastructure delivery, while Lagos-Ibadan train stopped 4 times in transit, NRC. PDP ready to rescue Nigeria from hunger, poverty, insecurity, Atiku. What stories do we have?
I've got the Lagos-Ibadan train stopped 4 times due to vandalized tracks. So according to the Nigerian Railway Corporation, NRC, on Monday said that the early morning Ibadan to Lagos trip was interrupted 4 times due to vandalized sections of the rail tracks. And, the regional district manager for the NRC, Southwest Operations Engineer Augustine Arisa, explained that the train kept stopping after the driver noticed that some clips had been removed from the rail tracks. And that, because there were not many clips that were removed, it would stop. But it will continue. If there were so many, clips removed, it will move on to another track entirely. But then this is just so sad. There were some places where it was noticed that the track had been tampered with. Some of the fastener clips had been removed from the tracks. So the train kept stopping to check if the removed clips were many or not. That brings so many things to mind. People removing clips, and that is endangering people's lives. Of course,
You have the vessel story.
No, you can take it.
Okay, so a vessel conveying crude from to Tema in Ghana was arrested by Tansita Security Services Limited, owned by Tompolo, and the vessel was destroyed. Now, according to them,
pause. The Tompolo are supposed to be protecting?
Yes, so Nain cash full vessel of crude.
Okay.
So they now went to destroy it in the Delta State.
Yeah.
I'm saying they destroyed...
Evidence.
Not beyond evidence.
1.
Natural resources.
Natural resources. 2.
So that's just the...
So why did they destroy it?
Why would they destroy it? Who are the people behind it?
Yes. The vessel, according to them, was set on fire on the Warri River at about 3 p.m. on Monday, following confirmation of the captain of the ship, Temple Menasa, that the vessel was actually laden with crude oil. After they have confirmed it, I'm just wondering why this is where we resort. This is not drugs. It is not harmful. But even destroying it in that area is harmful to the environment.
What is even the cover-up? Because that suggests that there is a cover-up. And it is so sad that it is only in Nigeria that you hear that people are giving oil wells to people as gifts. And at the end of the day, somebody is just rich overnight. Because look at, we keep talking about how Nigeria does not have money, how this did not just start.
And then you find that vessel.
I'm telling you, and then you set it ablaze.
The owner of the captain of the ship says that his ship was hijacked by armed men. They took it to a creek. They loaded it with crude. He confirmed that. And when Tompolo and his boys got to where they were loading, they ran off. Why? When the boys ran off, you have the crude. You have the ship. Your crude back. You investigate. You find the people who are behind this. We have people that will become examples and be held accountable, and the crude taken back to the right source.
Quickly destroy it so that you don't get to ask questions. You don't see people to hold.
Because why would you do that? That is the reason. Of course.
Yesterday, the NNPC GMD was saying 9 years. There was a 4-kilometer pipeline.
Exactly my point.
Taking our crude out of the country.
For 9 years.
For 9 years.
According to, I want to stay with Sulai on this. I don't believe it's that. I think it's much more than 9 years. But because we don't want to investigate. If we can investigate it, we'll even find the people benefit. It is crude. It is huge. It is not something you hide. Hey. It's not 10 naira.
We do have a long way to go.
On the newspaper reviews. Thank you so much, ladies. When we come back, we move on to our hot topic. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. In 2011, the UN declared October 11 as the International Day of the Girl Child to recognize girls' rights too and to highlight the challenges that girls face around the world. In commemorating the Girl Child Day, we will be highlighting and addressing the needs and challenges which girls face throughout the globe. You can join the conversation on 081-270-53687 or 091-390-76948. We have always talked about the girl child and all the numerous issues.
That's right.
Yes, that bedevil the girl child. We talked about unemployment, equal opportunity, gender equal rights, you know, genital mutilation, child marriage and all that. Those are some of the issues that every organization from time to time highlights and tries to solve the issues. So in celebrating this day and commemorating with them today, what are some of the issues that you think we have not really given that much attention to, that you believe we can do more concerning the girl child?
This is just so wonderful to discuss because there are still so many things going on. You know, this year's theme is Our Time is Now, Our Rights, Our Future. The other time I was talking about how the UK government said that they were going to ban virginity repair surgery. And they were not just going to be a part of it. In case somebody does not understand what that means, it is also called hymenoplasty. That is when, you know, your hymen is already broken. You want to repair it. You want to do a surgery so that you can become a virgin again. And a lot of people are actually in, you know, they're getting it done. They're getting it done. And one of the reasons the UK government is saying that they don't want to be a part of it any longer is because they don't want to encourage it. They want it to stop, you know, because there are so many things that can break the hymen, for crying out loud. Exercise can break the hymen.
Bicycle riding.
Tampons can break the hymen, you know, and all that, different things. And, you know, there are still some places in the world, like you're talking about South Asia, Middle East, where it is a thing to be a virgin. And on your wedding night, you must bleed. If you don't bleed, then they might kill you. Yes. So because they might kill you, it is honor-based. So because they might kill you, the families of these people always puts them under pressure, if anything is already wrong with the hymen, to get it done. And I think in this age and stage, we shouldn't even be talking about this. And it costs up to £3,000 to actually recreate your hymen in the UK. And I think it is just so worrisome that in 2022, we're still talking about this. So why is it that women are subjugated? Why is it that, you know, there is no intrinsic value placed on women? Why is it that, you know, the value of a woman is still in their sexuality and all that? Yes, it is just so sad. And this is one of those many things. Like, let's even come to Nigeria and then you see for yourself. In fact, I heard that one time there was a particular university that made it a criterion that you must be a virgin for you to gain admission into the school. I mean, how do we say that that is an institution of learning? And in this age,
is in focus.
That is still a thing.
So how do they test for the men?
So there is virginity testing now. They check whether, there is a way they check whether the person is a virgin. And I think that in itself is traumatic.
Wrong. Yeah. It is. Let me come to you, Nima.
Okay.
How do we celebrate?
I was just, you know, this morning thinking of the plethora issues that women have to deal with that are just hormonal. And, you know, it's science. In fact, it is I don't know how to put it, for men to understand that women have to go in phases through life. Our hormones control a larger part of our being, our lives. Back to back. And it's all, and in all shades of everywhere. It's you're lucky if you have your hormones working perfectly for you. So for some women, it's AIDS, menstruation. For some, it impedes menstruation. For some, it affects fertility. All through life, even productivity in workplaces, it affects a lot of things for women. And so for you who just have to enjoy your life, just exist,
just wake up
and be a guy.
Be a guy.
It will be tough for you to understand. Imagine I remember being a young girl and I used to have terrible hormonal issues. All of my sisters, I had abnormal ones. And Even my mother could not understand why I'll be sleeping in the morning. Why do you want to sleep in the morning? Why will you? Because I'll be up at night like a bat, my eyes wide open. I had to just structure life to say, at night I read, so nobody ever saw me reading. And then in the morning, I am sleeping. And unfortunately for me, I have an early riser as a mother, and 7 a.m., God help you, I've not woken up. You know, all sorts of methods I used to wake you up that you cannot imagine. And so it was a lot of things scattered for years till I had freedom to control it. And some people will just come into your space, they sleep in the morning. You should say you will be a good wife, so that kind of thing. It's tough here. You know, you're not allowed, you know, if it is not exactly you being lazy, if somebody can express how they feel, you know, if a young girl can express how she feels at that time, you can help her through it and, you know, help her pass through it. And, you know, I wanted to, when you raised this issue, the thought of the genetic GMC, that's the cut. Genital mutilations that have to happen. It's also on the girl child. Of course. Trying to curb sexual excesses that have not even come. You know, and they will say to the girl, if you don't do this for your girl child, as a young child, she will be wayward. And she has not even reached to know whether she will be wayward. Or not. Or maybe one child was wayward. And then they group every child tradition. And the abuse has spanned years and still exists in some communities in the country where we live in.
That's right.
It's terrible here that, you know, as the awareness grows wider, the abuse continues wider, you know, in some states I don't want to mention here. And you have people who can change this because it's a traditional, it's now a cultural thing.
Exactly.
It exists in our cultures. You have the custodians of culture that you expect would compel the change and say in these communities, imagine if the traditional ruler of the Yoruba kingdom in Osun compelled that anybody found doing this, any head of family in charge of this be called, be punished. And anybody found openly or even secretly doing this will be banished, will be, you know, imprisoned, will be disgraced, anything that is traditional. And,
but they themselves need to understand that it's not something, because they believe that they've done it over the years. They believe that
against it.
So you can speak publicly against something.
That's right.
No, hold on. No. You can speak publicly against something, but that's not what you believe. You just say it we just have to say it so that it seems like I'm now trendy, I'm now flowing. But in your heart, you're still very traditional.
I think there is something about us, Africans, Nigerians, to be precise. You know, we actually do not think that we should review some cultures. We think that because we just think that they should be cast in stone, like that is how they should be forever. And they should be reviewed because so many things happening. What do you even say to the woman that they said that the husband died and she was the one who killed the husband and that she should drink the water they used to wash the cuffs? And it still happens. It still happens because I still saw one in the news recently, and I'm like, oh, so people still do this? So many things are happening, and I think that we should continue to talk about these things.
If we must have our girls grow to be whole women, to be able to give love, to be able to be true nurturers that they were born to be able to nurture nations that they were born to be, we need to review we need to review a lot of things. We need to start to have conversations the right way. We need to make it less harmful for the girl to express herself.
And to live, and to just survive.
And I think one thing people don't understand again is that girls and women represent half of the world's population. Therefore, it represents the potential, I mean, you know, the whole potential, the half of the potential of the whole world. And people don't get that. So, you know, in fact, when you're talking about gender equality, it is, you know, besides the fundamental human rights that it is, it's actually, you know, it is essential for peaceful societies and with full human potential, you know. And I would say again that with sustainable development. And again, they say that if you empower the girl child, it actually spurs productivity
Yeah.
and also economic
empowering
growth.
the society.
And I think that people don't understand that yet. They don't know that it is for the benefit of everybody as a whole, and that is why they're still where they are.
But say it well. The Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you educate a girl child, you educate a nation. They don't give that credit. He's saying of the prophet.
And maybe she didn't
And
get it
in
from
my
the
religion, the rights of the girl child. No, so that's why we are informing.
I've heard that, and I always
People
use it,
usually
but I
just
don't know.
say it. They don't say the source of it.
Oh,
And
no.
it's-
So my
yes.
own is that I understand that, but because I'm not a Muslim,
Yes.
I did
so,
not get that.
No, I just wanted to use it to buttress that, the rights of the girl child, long before it was Western, was established in Islam.
Are you serious?
But because a woman in Islam is encouraged to cover up, also as a protection from what society saw at the time, to cover her and cherish her, it was also pushed as an abuse of, the girl. People think, when you're covered, you're abused, you're not educated, and it was culture, not Islam. If you come down to the places where it's practiced the most, it is their culture to shush the girl. It is their culture to not allow her advance. Because if she's too educated,
Not
she might
the
argue with her husband.
religion.
Not be religion. no.
Ewo.
In religion, you are a partner. You are allowed your opinion. You are allowed your source of income. You are allowed your own investment and your earnings. Your full chest, you go take one owner. So even the Islam did not legislate on the girl as part of an estate. She's a beneficiary of an estate from her father, a beneficiary of an estate from her husband, and her kids are beneficiaries as well as her husband.
She cannot be disinherited because she's married. Hey, let's go on a short break. When we come back, we take phone calls and messages. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Welcome back. We're still celebrating the International Day for the Girl Child, and you can join the conversation on 081-270-53687 or 091-390-76948. So I know that raising a girl, being a girl, first of all, and raising a girl is not easy. I remember the time, like she's mentioned, she's had some very hormonal issues. Mine was more of the menstruation, where I would be fainting every month. I'll be throwing up every month. My father will have to take me to the hospital to get me these injections.
I've had
that
my
they
fair
give,
share of it.
yes, through the veins and all that before I calm down. So that was the monthly routine, which started at the age of 14.
And a lot of people don't understand.
Yes, and even now that I've given birth to about 3 children, I still have very painful menstruation. I was having a conversation with my mom 2 weeks ago when she came to visit. And she was like, you're still in pain? You should have stopped. She didn't get it. She didn't understand it.
Maybe she never had it because
she never
my
had
mother
it.
never had it.
Yes,
so
she
she's
never had
always
it.
looking at me like, oh,
you are strange. What's happening?
Yes, what is wrong?
So what I would like to see is an understanding of, the periods of a woman. So you go to the workplace and you know you are not in your best. You are not, and everybody judges you like, now you first, they flow. Now you first, I better go and do your work.
Even women
who are supposed to understand, especially those ones who do not have any experience. If you come to me and you tell me you're feeling a certain type of way because you're in your period, I will totally understand. I'll give you attention because I know what I used to go through. So how do we start having the conversation where even women should understand that these things happen? These days, as I'm growing older, I'm realizing that when I'm menstruating, wahala. When I'm ovulating, wahala. Like I'm in that space where I can't fight anybody. It comes with a lot of pain and anger, and I'm just beginning to realize that. Can we have these conversations where women can say, this is what I go through during this period. How best can you support me? In my workplace, wherever I find myself, can we begin to have that conversation? Another issue that bothers me is the child marriage.
Yeah.
Child marriage
is still on.
It's still on. It's still ongoing. I have a daughter who is 13, who, if you look at her, she is full. But I can't even imagine at that age where she's still beginning to even understand. She hasn't even understood herself. And you know, allowing her to be married off. How do we start pushing these sort of conversations? Because we still have a lot of it happening, especially in our space.
That's right. That's right.
I think for the first point that you made about the woman in workplaces, the first thing is when you're not in your hormonal phase, can you give your best?
Yeah.
Can it not be an excuse every other
time.
day?
That's right.
So that women like you will not be forced to say, waiting
They happen. Now only
You know, women sometimes in their workplaces decide their kids as if other women don't make it work. Decide their period as if other women don't make it work. It is a true condition. I met 3 women over the weekend because I take my kids out to learn. And I met other mothers, and we shared an experience. And
Let me pause you because I don't want to lose what you're saying. Let's have Sunday from Kogi. Good morning, Sunday.
I like to start by saying that the devil gets involved in our life in different ways, and that we must take notice of how the devil gets involved in our life.
Did you hear him?
Let me give you an instance. I wrote a book sometime ago, titled The Last Book of the Earth. And I did state in the book that this word key we call our children is extremely wrong. The word key is meant for baby good, not for human child.
Okay.
Now we are raising a generation of good by calling our children key. When the devil gets involved in our dictionary, it becomes part of our culture and our belief. I'll give you a second example. Before now, we used to say, oh my God, in trying to exclaim our frustration or whatever. But today what we say, oh my God, with the intent that probably come from our memory.
It's muffled.
Now,
really hear.
That's right.
before
So
now,
not talking about
an inbuilt culture to kill a woman that gives birth to you.
Wow.
That
That was not really clear. Yes.
So,
No, that's
Enima,
cool.
you were saying.
You were
So I
saying
was saying, you know, give your best in your most strong, healthy period. Myself and those women were talking, and one just said to me that, I know, my child did something, and I said, please, so help me, 6 months work. Let it not go to waste, 6 months bed rest. And she said, did you do bed rest? I also was on bed rest. I was just grateful to the boss that I had at the time. I did not get pregnant again, because the new boss I have might never understand. You know, I just might lose my livelihood, and I'm like, these are serious, honest issues women deal with. So for some women to just, lazy person, just say, I'm pregnant. No, today is my period, to just continue to use this as excuses. Make it soft for those people who sincerely have those situations. What I have learned through life, because I remember not being able to sit through exams.
Yeah, me too.
Every exam on the first or second day of my period, I will do my worst. I can't do my best. I can't concentrate. The pain takes from my spine to my brain. I'm just struggling to sit up, talk less of to remember an old pain.
What to write?
So when I get that and I get a B, I'm always like celebrating that B, that at least
You even get a B, I don't even sit.
The kind of books you have to read as a law student. So when I struggle through and God, today is God, because I know that it couldn't have been me. Those were the kind of exams I had to go through. So what I did was, in my healthy stages, before I know, unfortunately, my period was on irregular, and it will not tell me when it's coming. It could be 4 months apart.
Yeah.
It could be 6 months apart.
Oh, you had
But when it comes,
yes.
I had serious.
So yes, you did.
When it comes, it's serious shedding of the uterus, no ovulation, bleeding. I could bleed out a clot as thick as this.
Oh, wow.
In one standing. So the best thing for me is to be in my house. I would sometimes just run hot water and just be there, bleeding and washing it off. So that kind of life. Imagine somebody now make a joke of it and come to work and say, let me bleeding. And make light of it so that when I'm having that condition and I'm explaining to a boss, nobody will believe. They will think it's impossible.
I've actually...
Before I come to you, let's quickly take Sadiq from Yobe. Good morning, Sadiq. We lost him. So sorry. Honeypot.
You know, I snapped at somebody before, and this person is my very close friend, and the person looked at me and said, I know what is wrong with you. I know. Anytime you're on your period, that is how you behave. You know what? If I take it up, it will be, I'll be embarrassing myself. It will be, so I'll pardon you because I just know that that is what is wrong with you. I think for such people, I mean, I appreciated her more.
Yeah.
Because what? for you to understand that this is what
This
is
is
wrong
what I'm
with
going
me.
through right
there
now.
are a lot of issues, as you have said, 1,001 issues, because, you know, nearly 1 in 4 girls aged 15 to 19 globally are not in education, employment, training, compared to like 1, you know, in 10 boys. Imagine that, and that is global. So I don't know why in this age we're still way back. You know, and one thing again, when we talk about the workplace, we've been talking about the workplace, how people would understand that women are on their periods. And that's not the only thing. We're still talking about the take-home for women too, salaries. And it's a big issue, especially when you think, because I'd seen a post of Oprah Winfrey way back where she was, you know, talking, venting on how they were not going to increase her salary because she was paid less, and they were doing the same thing. And then the response she got was that because you're a woman, and then you just feel that a man has more responsibilities than you know, a woman. I don't think that if we have come to work and we do the same thing, this is not even being in competition with a man. This is if we are offering the same thing, we're bringing the same thing to the table. Why would you think that because I am a woman, you should pay me less?
Don't I even need more money than you?
Why would you?
I've been to work several times with my sick children.
Yeah.
If I had to take them to the hospital, skip work, it will affect my production. I will bring my productivity to 100%, still be a mother, and you know the way we just, you know, multitask.
That's right.
But my husband, he will go to work. Hey, babes,
And be calling you on the phone. How is the boy now? The temperature don't go down.
Because
so it's even
women
much
can manage
more.
things better.
When you're a woman, you do much more. You know, you're battling that. Imagine, for those who don't, we are enjoying the benefit of spacing our kids. For women who don't space their kids, I always wonder how they manage. For women who think, no, it's okay, let me just rush out. It's tough. I mean, you're in between several phases. In pregnancy, you're almost all that up and down. You're not yourself. You're carrying a child who's probably teething, going through...
you know, it's
not easy. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Honeypot, are you ready for it?
Oh, yes. It's so interesting that I did not lose my thoughts, you know. So when Nima was talking, it is actually interesting again that, you know, when Nima and I were talking this morning, she was talking about how she was tired, and I was complaining how I've not been able to sleep well and all that. And she said, you know, our children were disturbing her. They were trying to plait her hair. They were doing this. And I'm like, really? Because I had to, you know, as a woman that I have my own things to deal with, I'm like, I don't even have a child yet. And it
hasn't been easy.
So I asked her, I said, how do you even cope? She said, you will acclimatize, no, Oma, you know, and all that. Because
you readjust yourself, sharp, sharp.
Do you get? Because I know how I feel, especially when it is, and as you said, it is not only when one is menstruating.
Yeah,
ovulation is like malaria. Yeah. So when are you now free as a woman?
Just a few days, though. A few days freedom. So what happens to me is, during that ovulation, menstruation, once I start with that's my, leave me. I want to be on my own. My husband will say, is it time? Please, sorry. People should understand, mommy needs her peace. Mommy needs her rest. There was a day I snapped at Miriam. Miriam was like, we were doing your shoots in the car.
Oh!
And she was like, are you about to, is it about to start? I say, actually.
How come I didn't notice?
Actually, yes. Because she just noticed. If you come close, you will notice. However, I've just found ways to lighten it up. So I meditate more often. It sort of helps me.
Yeah.
So that sometimes I don't even know when it's coming. But normally, before I started doing something, because I didn't even understand what was happening, I just know that I get very angry at a certain time. But there's another one that, you know, caught my attention that I would like us to address. So I had this young friend recently who had to drop out of school before the ASU strike.
Okay.
And when I asked her why, she was studying law in one of these universities. And she said that the parents had to tell her to step down so that her brother can continue. They didn't have money to fund both of them. Now, they didn't have money to fund both of them. It's not their money. She's the one working and funding herself.
Wow.
And they said she should step down so that she will do the work and fund the brother because he is a man. And she was trying to convince me that, you know, he's a man now. He's the one that will bear the family name. I was pissed, but it's not my business. So I said, so in a few years' time, will you be happy with this decision? She said she can't do anything. Her parents are insisting that she steps down so that the man... So we still have families who are constantly making choices and telling women to step down from education so that their brothers would continue that education.
We should own the decision.
Oh my gosh.
It's okay to step down for a family member. It's okay if you own the decision. She's the owner of the resources. She's working. She's sponsoring. If she thinks that, okay, if I face my work, I'll earn better and I can sponsor my brother, and it's her choice. Not that family is asking her to choose. Because, you see, their families have their fears. Unfortunately, we live in a culture where when she marries, she's not the owner of her head.
I'm telling you.
Somebody pay money on top of her head.
The person
so that the person can say, you can't have a job. And your family have sent you to school as their only hope.
And then you become a housewife, right?
And then you become a housewife. I hope you understand where I'm going
where
with
it's
the
going
point.
to,
So the family, for their own decision, the reason for that decision is because they know it is a culture. And they think they cannot come into that marriage and decide for a man in his home. So a man who is selfish, who doesn't know your background, the one who even know your background will tell you, oh, they have used you and I will continue to use you, and you cannot have a life.
But right now, we see a lot of women...
Let me quickly take a call before I come to you. Menu from Abuja. Good morning, Menu. Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you speak louder?
I really enjoy your program. Just because I'm watching you. Exactly what my sister, the one that put on his dress. Exactly what she's talking about some few minutes ago. Exactly what I'm talking to. As a woman, even right now, I don't know, I tell you whether I will know or not. So you want to menstruate with trauma. I need to go to the office. I cannot go. Just respect myself. There's a lot of women that are going to the law. I don't know what all this is all about. They are not celebrating women. They don't follow the kind of thing women go through. That is my contribution.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honeypot.
All right. So I am so sad that this is still happening, and I would say why, because we can already see a lot of men doing well. A lot of women are climbing career ladders, and they are doing fantastically well. They are heading companies. They are, calling the shots and all that. And we can see examples. It is not as if people are just saying it, and it is not what people can see. People can see it. Women are doing well.
Amazingly well.
And they still choose to put their girls in the background just because you want to project certain things, certain ideologies that I think...
Because your own view to life is the same, your fears, it informs your fears.
Yes.
If in your own family, your wives, your daughters
are empowered,
cannot amount to anything but a woman in the kitchen, how do you think you view your girl child going to school?
Yeah, that's true.
And that is exactly why this day is on, so that people can begin to change how they think, their mentality, and all of this.
Let's take
I'm
a
so
short
glad.
break. When we come back, we'll wrap up on this topic. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Welcome back. We're still celebrating the girl child, and we'll be wrapping up in a bit. Now, what have you guys noticed about how children are raised to do chores? So I like to go to the younger generation because they are the ones that will take over. I still hear some people saying these chores are strictly for girls and these chores are strictly for boys. Yeah. What are some of the things that we're going to be doing deliberately to ensure that there's equality, even in our little space, in our homes, there's equality? For instance, in my house, anybody can sweep, Anybody can cook.
Yeah.
My son is like the best cook in
That's
the
how
house.
he's supposed to be.
Yes, anybody can wash. Anybody can, you know, sweep the outside. There was a day he was arguing with me and he was like, Mommy, why do I have to be the one to sweep outside? I said, anybody can sweep outside. You woke up first. Please go and help yourself and sweep the outside.
That's correct.
You know, so how do we balance it in such a way that these young generation are raised to understand that there's equality, we are the same?
You have said it all. So, yes, there is no special job for or chore for the girl child. And you now say that, oh, or the boy child is in the living room watching TV and then the girl child is somewhere, you know, working,
cooking, washing, cleaning
off and all that. No. So it has to, everybody should be able to do the same chores. And I tell you what, you know, we keep talking about how women can multitask and all that. It is all of these things that women have gone through that built them to be able to do all of this that they are doing. And you see that, you see a woman and a man of the same age, and sometimes, you know, you can't actually compare just because this woman can even do better, is doing better than the man. I think that you shouldn't let, in as much as we're talking about the girl child today, you shouldn't, you know, leave the boy child behind. You should help them you should build them and let them do all the chores in the house. Let both the girl child and the boy child do all the chores in the house.
Amazing. Let me quickly take this call. Fumi. Good morning, Fumi. I come to Nima. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Miriam. Yes. Okay, please, I would like to make some few comments about a girl child, you know. One of the issues I discovered again of recent is that the in-laws are always making it look as if it is your fault to have a female child. You know, we place the male child above the female child, which is unfair. I'm not the one that produced the child in my belly. I wasn't the one that gave it, you know. It's God that gave me the child. So why should you place one child above me? It's really unfair for that girl child. You know, I've been a victim of that because I've had issues of no childbearing for many years. The only saving grace was that because we were delayed and we had female girls, my husband cherished them more because he understands when you don't have and when you have. So what about other families who are going through this and, you know, they don't have any spouse to really stand up for them? Placing a boy child above a female child is totally wrong. And that's one of the things we are facing too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It just made me want to cry.
I'm telling you. Oh, wow.
You know, my name is Oyomoholo. It means that, you know, barrenness is worse. I was a third girl. The drama around my birth was so much. It was overwhelming for my dad. And he used to tell me this story of how proud of his girls he was. Amidst family setting, he would emphasize how proud. Because in my religion also, do you know, having a girl child is paradise for the parents.
Oh, wow.
Raising her, empowering her till the point she marries off is paradise for the girls. That's how the Prophet encouraged empowering the girl child. And so my dad used to be so proud of his girls. First child was a girl, second was a girl, third a girl, and he cared for us. I remember him turning down jobs in cities he thought was dangerous to raise his girls. Everything he did was about, you know, how to shelter and protect his girls. And, you know, when we're talking about it like this just made me wonder how some families still see it like abnormal.
Yeah.
And that is why you see in some families they have a lot of children and all of them are girls because they keep giving birth thinking that they would have a male child and somehow
and
they
pressure
keep coming and the pressure.
Woman.
Interesting. So,
pressure the woman who has girls, she's dealing with that, but you cannot allow her to appreciate the gifts of God that God has given her because you're looking for a particular sex.
can we even talk about the X and Y chromosome?
Abi?
Aside from that, even the sex that will not even take care of you, the burden of the family always rests on the women.
Sister.
I am an Ada. I know what I am carrying. The boys self never even find their level. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? If you go to most of these homes that they put a lot of emphasis, it's even the women. At the end of the day, you're the one that will be sending, remember your mom, you remember your dad, you send money back and all that. And we're not giving that sort of support because they felt you'll be married and you are married off. If you're going for funeral rites, anything happens, the burden is on you as a woman. So why I'm not gaining as much. And in my place, you're even disinherited. Like I don't have a piece of land in my place because I am married out. at the end of the day, I'm spending more taking care of you, where other people are just chilling because they're boys and they have parcels of land. So it's annoying. We need to deal with this.
And I think another thing we should talk about again is that, you know, we talked about it before on my show together, and we're talking about how in your part of the of Nigeria, you know, they collect a lot of amounts, you know, when you're getting married. And I actually saw some girls who are complaining. And they're like, this amount is carrying guys away. And that is why some of them have not even, you know, gotten married because of this. And that thing of, you know, this girl child, because somebody is marrying her off, I must collect everything. And so you're reading the list and you're saying the roof that they have not done in years, it is that guy that is going to come and fix it. The guy that is coming to marry, the girl that is going to, he's committed a crime. They are going to buy motorcycle. They are going to buy this thing. They'll almost build a whole house before, you know, they give their child, daughter's hand in marriage.
The culture starts from how you see your daughters.
Yeah.
As if you're a father, you're a mother today, cherish your daughters. Want for them what you want for any gender of your children. I am appreciative of the background, the training. I saw my parents' sacrifices. I'm a girl child, third in the role, family drama everywhere at birth, but I'm here today. I wish good for your daughters. When they grow, they would remember. You know, we're very loyal beings. We know how to, you know, they would remember. Do that for yourself, for your peace of mind. I don't wish that your child, because she's a girl, is at the mercy of the world.
Yeah.
Empower her. Let her be able to stand independent of the world.
That's amazing. So let's take our final words before we go. From this conversation, what do we expect our parents to begin to do to help, you know, celebrate the girl child? We're actually very full of value and attributes. And if you raise a girl child right, we are the first educators of our children. If you raise them right, you are raising a community. What are some of the things that we can begin to do to just make the lives of girl children easier? Just a few words so that we can go.
All right, I would actually start by saying that, you know, for parents, they can always unlearn, relearn, you know, because I think people think that because they are parents, they can, you know, just be doing things the way it has been done and then carry the whole thing on and on. So, and things don't change. So what I'm saying in essence is that as we have talked about this and as this day has come and people are addressing different things that is affecting, you know, different things that are affecting the girl child, I think there should be a change of mindsets for the parents, and they should begin to see that, you know, the girl child and the boy child are actually equal, and they should begin to
treat
you know,
them like that.
Treat them like that as such, yes, because in the long run, you know, they'll be happy for it, and the world will be a better place.
Nima?
I totally agree with on this. Let's look at it as an economic plan. Women are industrious, they are hardworking,
Intelligent.
They make up, as Onipot said earlier, over 50% of the world's population. Empower them, and you would have solved half of the world's problem. Educate them, because you see, the mind is, and a mother is the first teacher of every child.
True.
Educate her, and you'd have educated the next generation. It's important that, you know, their worldview is expanded. Women are not condemned to just assist the other gender. So we're not hawkers, street workers, and all of those things that, you know, I see around. We're better people.
Yeah, and we complement each other well. So I had an event recently that I went to, and it was so shabby. I was so upset. The decorations, everything was just so wrong. I was like, why am I here? I had to check the website again. Are you sure it's this people, this caliber of people, you know, put this up together? And I realized that in the panel, there was no woman. The planning committee, there was no woman. Like I was, because I was like, no wonder something was missing. That female, yes, that female touch wasn't there. The aesthetics wasn't there. There's just something that a woman brings to the table, because our eyes are open even more than we see the details. We see beauty. We see that thing, and I think and I believe that we need to start working to ensure that everybody is equal. The boy child should not be neglected.
That's right.
The boy child is equal to the girl child, and everybody must have equal opportunities. Yes. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we move on to other topics. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Joining us on the show is a facilitator of learning and educational psychologist, Ayokbeju Njideaka. She will be representing the Federal Nigeria Society for the Blind on this year's International White Cane Safety Day 2022. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good morning,
White
ladies.
Cane Safety Day.
Good morning, ladies. Yes.
So, congratulations on the day. Tell us what this day is about.
Okay, so the White Cane Safety Day is marked on the 15th of October annually all around the world. And the idea is to advocate on behalf of the visually impaired and tell people what the white cane is all about. And the cane, well, canes have always been around, really. But in 1930, a gentleman called George Bonham, a member of the Lions Club, observed a visually impaired person crossing the road with a black cane. And as a motorist, he realized he couldn't really see the cane well. And so the members of Lions Club painted several canes white, and that was in 1931. And that's how that came to be. For us in Nigeria, the first school for the blind started early 50s, but FNSB, that's Federal Nigeria Society for the Blind, started in 1955. And in 1956, we started the Vocational Training Center, which is in Oshodi. So on the 15th, we're going to be speaking to people. And really, the mission for us is to protect the blind in 4 major ways. First one is advocacy. The second one is rehabilitation, because our focus is on people who, by virtue of accident, illness, whatever, for those who go blind in adulthood or adolescence. So that's really the people we focus on. So there's the advocacy part, there's the rehabilitation part, then the empowerment part, and then prevention of blindness. So every year on the 15th, we gather. Our location for this year is at Muson Center. Muson has graciously allowed us to use their space. Wow. So we will be outside, have tents and all. And we will do 3 major things. The first one is a charity walk from Muson Center to Falomo and back. And we're moving with all our students, so that motorists see people use the white cane. And we will educate them as well, because NURTW is going to be joining us. Fantastic. So they will see that. We'll educate them what it means, because there's so much stigmatization. When we had a press conference, one of our instructors was telling us about how a couple of days before then, he wanted to board a bus. And the conductor said to him, "Who's with you? If you're alone, you can't come in, you can't come in." Because once they see them, they assume they don't have money. You know, they sort of associate disability with poverty, and that can be quite painful for them. So those are the sorts of things we would say to them. That's the first one. And on that day, we're going to be having free eye screening. You know, the 4th arm of what we try to do is prevent blindness. And the number of motorists out there who have some level of impairment. They're not necessarily blind, but even the way they drive. And this is not for a particular segment of people. I remember a very close family member a few years ago. His wife kept complaining, "I think you should go check your eyes out. You go too close to cars." And eventually he did, and he needed to have surgery. There was something wrong. So sometimes we do all these things. We don't realize that there may be something wrong. So that's why we're going to be having the eye screening, free eye screening at Muson on Saturday, the 15th of October.
That one is open for everybody?
It's open to everybody. Our target, really, NURTW drivers or any other drivers. But anybody can stop by, and we will be there from 7 a.m. Whilst some of us go for the walk, there'll be ophthalmologists on site to attend to people. And they'll be led by Dr. Musumola Faderian Motosho, who is a member of the council, but she's a veteran ophthalmologist. So she'll be there with a team of professionals. They will do the free eye screening and give out simple medication for eyes and all.
Okay, so let's get in a few more questions.
Yes, I would really like to ask, with all this that you're doing, well done. Well done.
Thank you.
I would even like to know, first of all, like, how did you get into this? That is you as an individual? What made you?
I was dragged in by a friend of mine. Okay. She's been part of council for a while, and then she invited me. On her birthday, one of her birthdays, she said to all of us, don't give me anything, just channel everything to this. And yes, to this course. And she did that, and I think it was applied to computers or, you know, I can't remember what exactly, but it was something to do with tech. Okay. And so that's how I got into it. Okay, so my second question to you is that with all of this that you do, I know that you still have challenges. Would you like to just mention some of the challenges, share some of the challenges? Okay, yes, the major thing is funding, and I will tell you why this is an issue. So the Vocational Training Center is actually a rehabilitation center where we take on people who suddenly, you know, life changes because you don't have that gift of sight anymore. So for each of our students, it costs us $1 million to keep them in school. 4 major sides to the rehabilitation. The first one is to stabilize them, you know, mental health, all those challenges come along with it. And then they learn to use the wide cane so that they can move around independently. Then the next thing, we need to empower them, a vocational skill, then entrepreneurship skills. So to do this, it costs us $1 million, but they only pay 150,000 naira. $1 million for a person? Yes, per year. The year is made up of 3 terms like regular schools. And that 1 million covers boarding as well, because it's a full boarding school. Yes, so they need to get to know that environment. It's a 2-year program, at the end of which they go back and we integrate them into the society. Yes, yes. So first thing is we do need financial support. Even though we're called Federal Nigeria Society for the Blind, this initiative is sponsored by individuals. We have Nigeria very good... involved? Well, why they're Nigeria, something. I don't understand. Because that's the challenge we always face. Even yesterday, are you going to review it if it's one of the problems? Because when we hear Nigeria and see Nigeria, we think it's government. No, it's not government. Support. This is not government. Wow. Although we have the support of Lagos State, let's give it to Lagos State. They do support us through scholarships. For instance, for Saturday, LASMA will be available. The Lagos Ambulance Service, they will be available and all that. So we do get some level of support. Okay, let's go on a short break. When we come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back. Nima had a question.
So I am amazed that, you know, at the level of partnerships that you have, especially with the NURT, you would expect that they will be the last one to want to join. Because we carry these assumptions around about the NURT and their activities as if, no, they cannot support a worthy cause. So I'm amazed at that support. But as you were speaking, I was wondering, why is the VIS, the Vehicle Inspection Service Center, and the VIOs, you know, the people who have to, who compel eye tests and driver's license not
present, not going to be present.
So are they there?
It's not too late. We can still contact them. And for us, even FRSC, because drivers, 2 sides to it now. They need to understand the importance of sight. That's right. And they need to own up to when they have problems.
You know why I'm saying that? Yeah. I have renewed my license recently, and I think I'm due already in 2 years, because I have a 5 years license for another one. I do my eye tests when I go there. And so I know that they have that service, except it's just a procedure. They should be here. They should be insisting Nigerians, your vision is more important. They should jump on every such awareness. So if they're not with you, it's disappointing to find out. But the Federal Road Safety as well, those are the agencies who must compel, you know, this awareness. They are the ones who, beyond checking, do you have a valid license, checking that, can you actually see? And what's the awareness they are raising on the lights?
Exactly.
Drivers when you're driving.
The use of
your headlamps
Yeah.
at times when, you know, odds, and are there any aids that they're giving? If those are supporting you for priority, for instance, are they giving those aids to help people who come around to help them?
So
protect
their
their eyes?
partnership with us is really to bring in their members, you know, just to, number one, listen to the talk about importance of their own eyes and how they can support the visually impaired. As I said earlier on, there's a lot of discrimination. You see people using a cane and you don't stop. You almost knock them down. We've had so many stories. I mean, recently where an instructor and students, they were actually knocked down, but thankfully they weren't injured in any way.
Wow.
So those are the things we want to engage them with. And we hope that as a result of this, the driving tests or the test that motorists take before they're issued licenses will cover a level of this. So one side is their own side. Another side is, are they well informed about helping to integrate
Visually impaired people
into the society? So those are the sides. And I was talking about the sort of help we require. It's not only financial as well. We need volunteers, people who want to join the advocacy team, people who would like to support our social media campaign. You know, there's so much that can be done. And people who will just come and visit and spend time. Because a lot of them fall into depression. So people who want to come and share the brighter side of the world with our students.
Wow.
So those are the
I have a
sorts
friendship
of-
with Christiana Kirimade, one of
Okay.
your students,
Yeah.
and she now does empowerment, and I love it.
Yes,
So it's encouraging.
We have
to
a
do.
number of them. We have one of them who teaches in Lagos State. He teaches maths. He was a teacher in Olashure before he went blind.
Wow.
And now he's in Lagos State. So we have quite a number of them who are doing well.
Take us through the process of rehabilitating, for instance. So when somebody has had a life where you have all your senses and then all of a sudden something happens and you lose one, what's the process it takes for some of them to get out of that depressive state? What are some of the help that you give? How do they come to register? How do they register? Who brings them? How do they get to know that you are available to help them ease into that, another life?
Okay, so usually information about us is by word of mouth. You know, Nigeria, when it comes to this kind of support, except you have that issue, you wouldn't know what's available. A number of ophthalmologists know of us, so they send people down, but they must be brought down by their family because you must pay your own part. Even if we're not charging you the entire 1 million, you need to pay your 50,000 per term. And it's amazing that sometimes they pay the 50,000 like 3 times. It is, yes.
So
So family members must come and register. Then they go through an interview process. They also go through a psychological assessment. We want to be sure that you're not prone to committing suicide and all that.
So you have psychologists that are working
yeah, we
with
have
you?
our in-house psychologists. We have other psychologists that we work with, yes. So we have that. And you know, it's not cheap to maintain those people. So you can imagine. There's so much they can do.
Which is why it must be under a ministry.
I was actually going to ask this question. So these people actually have characteristics, and I think a lot of Nigerians are not even aware. So I want to know, this particular one that you're doing, does it have a theme? And as BC said the other time, that is, how do... Now, I'm talking about awareness. How will people know? Because, yeah, it is not enough for, oh, these people are supporting us and all that. It is about the visually impaired people. So they have a lot of challenges, especially somebody who, as she said, who has seen before and cannot see any longer. It wasn't that the person was born with it, or maybe when the person was very young, it happened and all that. So the person is already grown, and that one in itself is difficult. So how do people, the sighted people, begin to help them, irrespective of this work that you're going to have, you know, on Saturday? Like, how are you ensuring that that happens?
Okay, so we have members who also bring in other members. That's how I joined. That's one. We also engage various societies, various clubs, as it were. For instance, psychology is one club that they are a cycling club in Lagos. And so we engage those sorts of people so they're aware of what we do. Lions Club, I mean, they are very big on supporting things like this. We have them as well. And then now we're going into schools.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going into schools because we believe that the earlier that people get to know of these sorts of things, the better for them. And our theme for this year is Together Creating New Boundaries. And so we believe that if you bring in people when they're really young, we've written to a few schools, security issues, they may not be able to join us physically, but the children have their own challenge that they are going to undertake. That's the fundraisers challenge, 10 for 10 or 10 for 5 in the case of the children. Idea is engage 10 people who will give you 5,000 naira each, and that's 50,000. For the older ones is 10 for 10. So that's one. The engagement part of it, again, is word of mouth, things like this, social media. So we do get people who just drop by. We have a lot of donors who walk in and drop food at the Oshodi Center. So we do have, we've been around 67 years. So is that place open
for people to come and take a look?
Oh, absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely.
And come with kids.
You can do, it's on Firo Road, number 1 Firo Road, Oshodi. That's on your way to Ilupeju, coming from the new station, the new bus station. You turn to the right, and it's right on Google Map. So you can leave. So you can come with anybody. I mean, of course, they will scrutinize. We have security who will scrutinize and ask questions. And depending on what the students are doing, you can actually sit with them. We have a lot of churches who come in at the weekend, a lot of other religious bodies too who come in and support. So that support, that knowing that they are loved, knowing that they are part of our society, and that's what SDG 10 is all about. You know, removing all the
discriminations.
Yes, the discrimination caused by disability. So that's what that's about. So for us, we'd like to reach out to people. It's not always about cash.
How can people reach you as well?
We're on all the social media platforms. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, and we're on Facebook. And it's FNSB Official. That is the same across FNSB Official. Yes, FNSB Official. So
okay, you people have heard it. For those of you who are looking to celebrate your birthday somewhere, this is somewhere you can go.
That's right.
Package something beautiful.
Yes.
You know, go spend the whole day.
Memory of a loved one.
Yes.
Whatever it is.
You can also do it underground.
Not carrying camera. No. That's not what I mean. Just go there. You don't need camera.
We're very protective of our students. We're very,
it's even unfair to take camera to such places.
So we want to do
camera.
We don't
people bring
you
things.
can take pictures of certain parts.
Yes,
of
but
the
not
center,
to come and show what you're giving.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah.
So,
we have videos online that during events, because again, they do a lot of things. They do crafts, they create things, and
they learn how to read there.
Yes, they learn how to read. They learn how to use the computer.
Play instruments.
Play instruments.
Yes, absolutely. Music is good for the soul.
That's right.
And so even for those who are in that state of mind, music is very good for them. And another beautiful thing about them is they have a band. So if you have
they perform.
Yes, please invite a band. We're always doing that during Christmas.
That would be sweet.
Carol.
And that's another way of making money, like you have something in.
Yeah, so those who want to go into paid employee, when they're done, they're able to do that. They learn to use the computer. There's an app called JAWS, so that helps them. They can actually go back and live meaningful lives. Thank you so much.
Well done.
And thank you for having us on this show.
Yes, we have been speaking with Ayokbeju Njideaka. Thank you so much for joining the show. Thank you so much, ladies. Nima smile. Honeypot smile. Thank you, viewers, for listening in today. We'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye now.